everyone, and welcome to Pixel Maven's Retreat. I hope you are enjoying this holiday handmade parade sponsored by scrapbook.com. If you are watching me on YouTube and you are planning on entering for the giveaway, you're going to want to check the links in my description and head over to my blog to leave a comment, because that is the official place to leave a comment for my stop. So just know that there are some people that are bloggers and YouTubers, and so we have our videos embedded in our blogs, so that's why you're seeing it out here. And there's also folks that are just YouTubers, and they are towards the end of the hop. So just make sure that you're following the hop links and you're leaving your comments at all of those official stops, and you will be entered into the giveaway. Anyway, now that that administrative stuff is aside, let's take a look at my project. I was so inspired by the wafer thin nested stars that I knew that I wanted to create a fun little spinner card that wouldn't take too long to create, but that would be a lot of fun and just really stunning in someone's mailbox for the holidays. So let's get started and I'll show you how to put it all together. All right, our first step is to create this really cool background. It's just a little kind of an ombre background. I've used the cardinal red and some of the new domed foam blenders from scrapbook.com to create it. And the reason why I did this first is because I wanted to make sure that I had a nice blend from the bottom to the top without getting any harsh edges around the star. So that will be the first step, and then later on we'll come back in and cut the star. So the cardinal red is a beautiful color. It comes in a 2-pack with a pine color for green. So you've got the perfect colors that you'll need for the holidays. And the domed foam blenders help me to make sure that I don't have any rough edges and harsh lines when I'm doing my blending. So you can see how beautifully that goes on. And in order to create the ombre effect, I'm starting here with kind of a darker layer, and then I'm just going to come back and start adding in lighter layers. So you can see I'm getting a little bit lighter here. I'm just not going to go back in the ink as often, and I'll have to come back and blend out the lines, but it's pretty easy to do with these domed foam blenders. So now that I have the initial layer in place, I'm just going to go ahead and just start working in a little bit extra so that way I can get rid of the lines. And then I finish it up by just adding some darker around the bottom just to give it a nice deep dark red. And at first it may look just a little bit swirly, but once this dries it will be a nice even tone. All right, so that's pretty good. Now I need to let this dry a little bit, and before we go, I'm going to add some gold spray using some Altenew antique gold. Of course, you could use any brand that we have at scrapbook.com. But I do just want to give this some extra glitz. And I'm kind of trying to avoid the bottom here because that's where the sentiment's going to go. All right. Now that I've got that on there, this just needs a few minutes to dry, so that way when I go to the embossing stage, I'm not getting embossing powder stuck everywhere. All right, so now that this is nice and dry, it is time to do some heat embossing, and I'm going to use the Believe sentiment from the Big and Bold Christmas stamp set. This is another scrapbook.com exclusive, and it is just lovely with these big and bold Christmas sentiments. So this one is a little bit, not necessarily religious, but it does say Christmas. They do have another set that's called Big and Bold Holidays that says Happy Holidays, and has some other sentiments that are definitely non-denominational. Okay, so go ahead and throw this in here. Now that I have it all lined up, just make sure my paper's in the right place. Okay, and I'm going to be using the scrapbook.com clear embossing ink. This is something new they added to their line very recently, and I really do like it. It has a little bit of a looser viscosity to it, to put a 25-cent word out there, and I really like it because it helps get even coverage more quickly. Okay, so I've got that all inked up here. And the nice thing about that, like I said, is that I get even coverage the first time. So I know that this looks really good. You probably can't see it yet, but I'm going to go ahead and throw some gold embossing powder on here, and we'll see what we get. All right. That is beautiful, and I'm going to go ahead and heat emboss this, and then we'll be able to get to the spinner piece. All right, so let's talk about how this whole little element comes together. So in order to make this flat panel and the card base work together to create a hole like so you can have your spinner in there, you need to do a little bit of pre-assembly. Now this is one of the Nina Solar White card bases from scrapbook.com, and this was just their card front, and this is really nice because they are designed to work together and they fit perfectly together. So instead of putting it together like so, I'm going to actually put this inside and flip it. The reason why I'm doing this is because when you run something through your die cutting machine, sometimes you get those unsightly lines from your plates, your die cutting plates. And I just don't want that to happen. So if I do it like so, then what's going to happen is those lines may end up on this side, and those are the sides that are going to get put together. So you'll end up with a really clean card. So I'm going to go ahead and just use some Post-it tape to tape these together. And so now I have those two pieces working perfectly. And this is the size of the star, and that's going to go in the middle here. And of course I have two of those already cut out, and so I just need the next size larger. So that was the one in here. I just need the next size larger to go ahead and align that. And I already know where the believe is. It's down here. So if I just go ahead and give this, pretty even spacing here and here, and tape this down as well, then it'll cut through both pieces at the same time, and it will be perfectly aligned when I go ahead to glue this together. Okay, so now I have this cut out, and you may or may not be able to see, but I do definitely have some lines and things in here. So I'm really glad that I chose to do this inside out smush instead of putting it across the front, because I would have ended up with these ugly lines on the front side, and I really would have been unhappy about that. So now that I've got this all done, I can pop out my star pieces here, and then carefully pull these apart. Now, just have to remember that this did go through the die cutter, so this tape is just a little, even though it's Post-it tape, it is stuck down pretty good. So just be patient, and it will all come up just fine. All right, so now that everything is cleaned up and ready to go, we can go ahead for final assembly. I am using the 1/8 inch scrapbook.com double-sided adhesive, and I love this size because it really just works for what you need it to work for. Oops, and I'm going to put these across this way. And then I just need another little piece to go on the bottom here. Okay, and what these guys are going to do is grab the translucent twine that I'm using. So this is just a clear thread. If I can find the end. There it is. And I just need to go ahead and stick it right in that double-sided adhesive. All right, so I have this piece right through here, and as soon as I trim this off, I will show you what that looks like. So what I'm going to actually do is take more of this, and it's like a tear tape. You just tear it right apart. I put one right over the top and press to make sure that that really stays secure. And then I can pull this one down and make sure that it's nice and taut. And do the same down here. So that's going to help make sure that everything stays just where I want it. Okay, so you can see I've got that piece of twine right here. Okay. So now that that's in place, let's go ahead and remove that additional backing, and I can go ahead and glue the top to the card base. So I like to make sure that I get good coverage around the edges of the star, so that way it's not pulling up. And then especially down in the bottom and at the top here to help keep that piece of thread in place. All right. Now this can go ahead and, you're just going to match it right up with the star underneath it because it's all going to fit perfect. Gorgeous. So the last step is to add in the star, and I'm going to use this adhesive again. Just pop it right down the center. Well, that one didn't quite make it down the center. That's okay. And put it underneath. And square it up, and hopefully it will grab some of that thread. There we go. Beautiful. And then the same thing with the top, and on the top one I will add some liquid adhesive and smush it all together. There we go. And the reason I'm doing this extra piece with the double-sided tape is that this will really grab that thread. If you use the liquid adhesive, it will take a little longer to dry, and sometimes it pulls out. And this is just a little extra security. Okay, so now that I have that ready, I can go ahead and match them up. And there it is. A beautiful spinner card. And of course, if you have a piece up here still, you can go ahead and trim that off. All right, I hope you enjoyed this project. Don't forget to hop along with all of our other scrapbook.com hoppers for this fantastic holiday paper parade. Don't forget to leave your comments too, so you can enter into the giveaway. Thank you for stopping by, and I will be back soon with another video. But until next time, happy crafting.